Thanks for joining us, and today we're going to talk about how to create inner harmony through Daoist internal alchemy. So in Daoist internal alchemy, there is a particular model of cosmology, if you will, how things came to be and how things are as they are right now. The basic Daoist model is unity, polarity, and 5 phases. So the unity is sort of an original source where things came to be. And then it basically from unity, the unity is separated into polarity. And so this is expressed in Daoist internal alchemy as yin and yang, positive and negative. So two forces basically counterbalancing each other and leading to basically creating all things in the universe from the yin and yang. And yin yang being expressed in many different ways. The processes of life, of motion, is a result of polarity. So even at a molecular level, everything is operating on the basis of polarity. And so the Daoist internal alchemists recognize this. And so the unity to polarity is the beginning, basically, of creation. And then from the polarity, the shift to the 5 phases. And in Daoist internal alchemy, the 5 phases are really talked about as 5 phases of the life force that it flows through. And from centuries ago, they talked about it in terms of elements. Now, this is not the same elements as what we have in the periodic table of elements in chemistry. The 5 phases of the qi, the way the qi will flow in a cyclical phase, and we see this reproduced basically by like the seasons that we have on Earth, right? This is the shift from the spring to the summer to the late summer to the fall to the winter and then back to spring. That is an expression of the 5 phases, and it also happens in our bodies too, because these are connected to our internal organs. And so we have certain organs have a sort of a phase, if you will, of the qi, right? So for instance, with the liver, it is very much this sort of wood element, which is sort of this rising qi, this expanding qi. And so that's in Daoist internal alchemy, we're talking, when we're talking about trying to return to source, because that's ultimately what you're trying to do, is trace your way back to source, right? And you know that's basically what spirituality is about. It's sort of like a recognition that we have this kind of physical existence, but as well there's more to us. So we want to explore that and then kind of get back to our greater connection with our original source. What's the same thing in Daoist internal alchemy is just that there's a real recognition, a pragmatic recognition, that if you want to move in the direction of source, you need to harmonize the 5 phases. And so what we normally find is that most people's their 5 phases are out of balance. Emotional, their emotional balance is not even keel, because there isn't a harmonious flow of that life force of the qi through the 5 major internal organs, and consequently things are out of balance. And so the first thing that we learn in Daoist internal alchemy is to start to work to harmonizing the 5 phases. And so one of the first things that we learn is the inner smile. And this is the beginning of self-acceptance, of accepting things as they are. Because if you don't accept things as they are, they're not going to change. Whatever state the qi is in currently right now, we can't really get it to change, to move to a different phase, to reshape its boundaries without fully accepting it. So our communication with the life force through Daoist internal alchemy, through Qigong, is about harmonizing with what is here now. And we do that through the inner smile, right? So, one of the first things we learn is the actual inner smile technique. And it is not just a grin on your face. You're actually trying to feel inside whatever it is, different parts of your body, your emotions, whatever. The inner smile is this feeling of accepting things as they are. And as soon as you start to connect with them, there is a response. It's a communication. It's not just you using your mind to try and reach out inside your body responds. Similarly with your feelings, if you're trying to feel an emotion and smile into it with that inner smile, you're connecting to it, and there's a communication. And the reason why there's a communication is because it's the life force, it's qi. that particular emotion, that feeling, that part of your body is all part of the spectrum of the life force, the spectrum of chi, and it is intelligent and it has will. So when we are doing the inner smile, we are connecting in a like a heart-to-heart connection, if you will. It's a chi-to-chi connection with whatever the life force, the state that particular part of the life force is in right now, right? And so you need to begin by harmonizing what's inside. And we do this through things like the ocean breathing, right? And the inner smile, right? And the inner smile is really simple because you don't even really need to have any background in anything. Daoist internal alchemy, meditation, spiritual, belief, whatever. It doesn't matter at all. All you need to do is develop this sense of feeling inside, smiling into it with complete acceptance. That is connecting with the chi there. And then consequently, things are going to change because the communication has happened. There's been some consent for change and acceptance and a support. And then things will be reshaped in a new way. Like, I think when people hear me saying, because I've said this in so many videos, like I can't even count it on, probably both my hands and my toes, is it's so profound and so simple, right? What we tend to do, because, in these Western cultures, we treat things as objects, right? And, we live sort of with, at least growing up, in an objective type of world, right? And we stripped away the sort of consciousness from other things around us to the point where we could kill other beings, right? So it might be trees, whatever. And then we look at them as objects, but we don't accept them as having a consciousness, right? And the thing with the life force, with the chi field, is that it's conscious. It's not an object to be manipulated. So in many spiritual paths, they will do stuff like, they're doing pranayama technique, whatever it is, and they're saying, we will, make the prana do this and make the prana do that, as if the prana was an object to be manipulated, but it isn't. The prana, the life force, is conscious and intelligent and responds to heartfelt communication. So the inner smile is like, it is so overlooked as being the most profound technique that you can basically use. And it's the foundation of Daoist internal alchemy, because you are connecting, you're reaching out to communicate with whatever part of the chi field, either inside your body, in your emotions, in your thoughts, in the environment, right? Whatever it is. And when you're reaching out and connecting with it, it's chi connecting to chi. It's intelligent life force connecting to intelligent life force. And when there's a connection that happens, things can start to move and the harmonization can start to happen. And so that's what you really need to do when you're, getting into doing any kind of transformative process. If you don't have the connection, the link is broken and there is no transformation. Say you had a difficult upbringing and there's a particular issue that really is emotionally is really like charged for you, right? What that is that chi, that life force from that experience was shaped in a certain way, right? And it's sitting in your body, right? So it's like the chi is not going to move because it's being used for that purpose, and it's been solidified, if you will. It's kind of concretized into this feeling, right? And usually people just leave that alone. They're like, oh, I don't want to go there, right? Oh, I don't want to touch that because it's so charged. But the thing is, if you actually smile into it, if you do the inner smile into it and accept it, it starts to communicate with you, and you're starting to make the link to bring it back to where it needs to go, so it can be reshaped and move in a way to support what you're doing now. So maybe it's a traumatic experience from the past, right? And it served its purpose at the time. But as far as the life force goes, it's a waste for it to be just stuck there, and it's not helping to support you, right? So, by you smiling into it, you're starting to make that connection, allow the life force to reabsorb it, reshape it, if you will, and it becomes a vital part of you. We talk about this, we call it Dan, which is internal alchemy. The Dan is like an elixir. The elixir is a transformation of chi that we've had for whatever reason. It's transformation of that sort of frozen chi, that stagnant chi that's not being used for anything, and it's just an impediment to our development. It's about transforming that chi into elixir, meaning reshaping it and then bringing it into our center. That is the way that we're re-empowering ourselves, right? It's creating this harmony. And so, when we're doing things like the 6 healing sounds, we're starting to move chi through the internal organs and through the 12 meridians that are connected with the internal organs, and it's starting to create this balanced flow of the life force. So flowing, from like the wood element, the spring, to the fire element, which is associated with the heart. So by us connecting inside, like with the 6 healing sounds, for example, we're starting to harmonize the energy and allow it to flow in this 5-phase cycle. It creates an internal harmony, and things that were stuck in us start to become unstuck and start to become mobile and fluid, and the life force can consequently flow through us in the ways that we need for now, not just about us living in the past because of whatever situation we had. We want to move forward, right? And so when people do like counseling and psychology and stuff like that, some of that can happen as well, because they're actually recalling an emotion, right? An experience they had from the past, feeling it, right? If they're probably coming to some sort of acceptance, and some of it starts to be released from where it was, right? But in Daoist internal alchemy, we go all the way, right? So we go and we use particular practices, for instance, like the 6 healing sounds, like the microcosmic orbit, like the inner smile, and like fusion of the 5 elements and other practices. We use them to specifically target things in us, this chi that has been stuck, that is stagnant, that is serving no purpose other than being baggage of our past, right? And we use these techniques to transform that. We connect with it, we smile and fully accept it, and we use energetic particular techniques to transform it, and then we use that. It becomes our elixir, this Dan. The Dan is the elixir, right? Internal elixir, and we bring it into our center to empower our spiritual journey. So that's basically the approach that we're doing in Daoist internal alchemy, of creating this harmony. Because if you don't have an internal harmony, you cannot go to source. Source is the gap is too great. So like the kind of return to God kind of thing, right? We want to connect with our original source essence, our spiritual essence, but we can't if we have all this chaos inside of us. We need to harmonize the chaos. We need to come to terms with it. We need to transform it, and we need to use it to empower us on our spiritual journey. So that's essentially what we're doing. We're using the harmony as a way of harmonizing the 5 phases and going deeper inside, as going in the direction of source. That's basically what we do when we're creating an inner harmony through Daoist internal alchemy. So if you have any questions about this video, feel free to send me an email at info@moderncrea.com. Also check our website at moderncrea.com and our YouTube channel. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.